Hi everyone, it's Anne. Welcome to my channel, Annie's Abstract Art, where I do just that. I love working on small canvases. I love abstract. I love grunge. I love collage. So I incorporated all of those elements into today's piece and have dubbed it my grungy collage art. The video will start now. Enjoy. So I went through my stash and pulled out a cast-off piece that was done on a 4x6 piece of index card, and it fits perfectly on this watercolor paper that I cut down to 6x6. And so it's already off to a good start. And then I went through all of my scraps and pulled out a few pieces just to see what I have to work with. And then using my matte medium, I prepared the canvas for my old book paper, and then used some buttermilk acrylic paint to work around the canvas, which kind of blends in with the old book paper that's over 30 years old and very, very yellowed naturally. And then added this collage paper, old scrap, that has a stencil on it. So we have instant design, instant print, instant color. Now doing the same as I did with the buttermilk. Now I'm using white. And now I'm going to add another piece of collage. It has a little bit of different shades of gray, some taupe. And so we're kind of working with neutrals here. And this is my quote unquote concrete paper, which is joint compound on copy paper. So I just tore off a little piece and glued it down. And so now we're working with layers and texture and pattern. And this is plain masking tape, which is as thin as paper, and I love it because you can paint over it and you get that texture. So I added two pieces, and this is another piece of scrap, so it has that red in there and instant color pop. And here's another piece of collage paper, and now some more buttermilk, just warming up that concrete paper. And this is alcohol ink, brown alcohol ink that I made with alcohol, glycerin, and acrylic, and a touch of black. And it's so thin because it's 90% alcohol. And I went over the masking tape. And this is a Sharpie marker. I'm going over the collage paper that you can barely see the diamonds in it. So I'm just going over it. And now this is the ink that I made with more of the acrylic. I let it sit for a while and then just sopped it up. And now for the wow factor, hot glue in kind of like a square random circle. And while that was drying, added some energy with some of the brown ink, and then continued adding that brown ink to the glue just to get some shapes, some texture, some color, some interest, create a focal point. And I'm rotating the canvas and now adding pops of red straight from the tube. Added it to that collage, didn't like the way it looked, and then added the original other half of that collage piece. Sopped up most of that red, added a little bit of buttermilk acrylic to distress it, turning it to see it from different perspectives. And then with a small brush, added a swipe of buttermilk just to get some contrast, some energy, different directions. You want to get that composition working at all times. Different, if you see that things are going too much in one direction. Here I'm distressing with the buttermilk. I love grunge. I love distressing. It's my favorite. And now I'm using the brown alcohol ink that I made to go over this lower left quadrant, rubbing with a damp rag. I removed the paper. I think, no, it's still there. I'm going to be removing it. So now watch what happens here. I'm using Arteza real brush pen. It's black, and it's kind of like a soft marker. And I'm just adding these random black lines, and I really wasn't happy with how it was turning out. So I just kept playing with it and then swiped it with the buttermilk, and I was like, oh, wow, look at that. It's almost like a teal because the buttermilk mixed with the ink from the marker. So I ran with that and used the wood end, the stick end of the brush. I just removed that collage paper, and I'm adding the original other half to it. But now when I add the ink that I made, look at that rich, kind of like deep turquoise that comes through. Oh my goodness, this was my favorite part of the whole piece. And when I dried it, there was so much texture from the acrylic that was under there. I tore that corner. And now what would an abstract be without some thin lines? So I'm using the real brush pen again to get those lines. Turning it around. And now doing some stenciling with the buttermilk acrylic. Distressing the marks that I made, the circles, so it doesn't look too fresh, too new, too pretty. And then I went over it with the alcohol ink that I made, and I got a pleasant surprise when it stained the glue, the hot glue that was there. What a great effect. I love that. And this is drywall tape. So it's almost like mesh, and I stapled it right on the canvas. This is 140-pound watercolor paper. And I liked it so much, I added it to the top, stapled it. And now as a final touch, I quickly dripped diluted buttermilk acrylic across the page on a diagonal to give the piece that movement, that energy, that wow factor, and to unify all of the different parts. And it is done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did creating it. If you have any questions about my process or materials, which I've detailed below, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, because I upload regularly. Until the next video, take care. I'll see you soon.